Good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew Cyphers, and I'm doing my second video synopsis over developing a simulation-based mastery learning curriculum. So, this article describes a study that attempted to reshape the current medical education curriculum by applying the six-step approach by Kern et al. Medical education has changed very little over the past century. Barczyk et al. Described the 2+2 method of education that is still being used today, which is 2 years of basic sciences followed by 2 years of clinical time for medical school. Other training curriculum that has not changed much in its delivery is ACLS. So think back to your ACLS training, especially your first go-around of the course. How many of you really felt prepared to go read a code the next day? The study conducted by the University of Chicago attempted to reshape the ACLS delivery method to simulation-based and eventually to a mastery level of delivery, improving the quality of education and patient outcomes. This was accomplished by updating the medical curriculum. So, curriculum is a statement of intended aims, objectives, content, experiences, outcomes, and processes of an educational program. Simply put, it is the blueprint of the program from development of a goal to achieving that goal and everything in between. There are many ways to develop a curriculum, one of which is the six-step method proposed by Kern et al. This study used that method as a foundation to develop an ACLS simulation-based medical education program. So, the six-step method, what exactly is it? So, the first step is to identify a problem and create a general needs assessment. Kind of like the first step with anything, you got to decide what you're developing and why. What need or problem in your field are you trying to address? After you figure out what problem you're trying to solve, you must dial it into your targeted group. Teaching a skill to medical students for the first time would be very different from refreshing that skill for a seasoned provider. Once you know who and why, you can start setting your goals for the curriculum. They should be SMART, or specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. Once you know your goals, you will need to know how to get there, or your strategy. This can be through case studies, simulations, or lectures and testing. Once you know where you're going and how to get there, you need to start gathering the needed support and supplies, such as books, simulation equipment, medical cases, and the buy-in of the faculty and staff. Perhaps the most important step is evaluation and feedback. For any program to be successful, it must be able to learn from its mistakes and grow. Both the individuals and the program should be evaluated. So, while the simulation-based medical education curriculum was successful, the university wanted to take it a step further and move the program to a simulation-based mastery learning training system. The team used the seven-step approach developed by Nagagi et al. To move the simulation program to a mastery learning type program. The 7 principles of mastery learning include baseline testing, setting clear learning objectives, being engaged in learning through deliberate practices focused on the objectives, a minimum passing standard for each unit of training, testing to assess for that minimum passing standard, only advancing to the next unit once mastery of that unit has been obtained, and continued practicing until mastery is reached. So the following table was pulled from the study by Barczyk et al., and it kind of outlines how they implemented the six-step approach and how they moved it from basic to mastery, as well as their plan for maintenance and enhancement. Data from the University of Chicago showed that nursing feedback determined residents were ill-prepared when running codes. This led to a quality improvement initiative by the university leadership and a revamp of the way ACLS training was conducted. The training focused on the 6 most common scenarios in an ACLS code. Those are asystole, ventricular fibrillation, supraventricular tachycardia, ventricular tachycardia, symptomatic bradycardia, and pulseless electrical activity. These scenarios were all used on lifelike mannequins that responded realistically to the choices made by the residents, providing real-time feedback in a safe and controlled environment. The 6 scenarios were vetted by attending physicians, ACLS instructors, and other content experts who then created a checklist to grade all trainees to the same standard. In order to move the program from a basic simulation program to a mastery simulation program, three things were needed. You needed to develop a minimum passing standard, you needed to hold all the learners to that standard, and you need to realize that moving from one level to the next will vary from learner to learner. So minimum passing standards were created for each of the 6 scenarios based on the percent correct of the previously created checklist. The team at University of Chicago used the Angoff and Hofsty standard when creating these minimum passing standards. Individuals who did not meet the minimum passing standards then went through deliberate practice remediation until they were able to meet the standard. This allowed for all 3 requirements to be met for mastery performance. The final and most important part of any program growth is maintenance and growing. This is done by reflection, evaluation, and implementation of needed changes. ACLS guidelines are reviewed on a 5-year cycle. The university continues to this day to update its curriculum to ensure that the most recent guidelines are being followed. The university also encourages feedback from residents that complete the program and will make changes based on this feedback. The course was actually shortened from 4 sessions to 3 sessions based on feedback of the actual procedures performed by residents during a code, such as the fact that needle chest decompressions and intubations are not commonly performed by the code leader. These procedures were then able to be glanced over instead of reviewed in depth. Finally, at the conclusion of the study, chart audits were conducted periodically showing that ACLS guideline adherence rose from 68% to 88% following completion of system-based mastery learning.